everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday morning trading session. Hang on here just a moment while I get the screen share going on. Okay, so we're following the NASDAQ here as usual. And please don't be shy. If there's a market you would like me to focus on for you, please let me know. Okay, so I've got the NASDAQ on this monitor, also following soybeans and crude oil this morning. And the market looking a little bit bullish out of the gate. Well, trying to be bullish anyways. Here's the overnight. After a rather sideways trading day, which is what we anticipated after seeing the first half hour or so of trading, kind of assumed the market would just be bouncing back and forth. I took a little bit of a break to the upside through the overnight. Relatively quiet overall, however. And we'll see whether here on the Raptor, and as well as the Hawk and Falcon, it looks as though we're getting a little bit of maybe a double top or perhaps even a triple top if you want to look at it like this. This would be a nice opportunity for a soft edge sell. If in fact we get that failure now and the short signal. Now, a lot of times when I talk about these tests of the extremes and the failure, we're looking for the pattern to develop like this, where we actually come up short of the high, in this case the high, and then the market heads lower. Even though technically we're, a tick or two above the previous high, the fact that the market is not continuing higher is still a test of the extreme. In fact, sometimes you'll see the market do one of these kind of things, where it makes an obvious move higher, and then reverses and heads lower. But what the market is telling you is exactly the same. Prices are not heading higher. They're trying to head higher, but they're not continuing higher. So if they're not going higher, there's a pretty good chance they might be going lower. And that's what we're waiting for this morning to see what's up with that. So if we get a sell signal here on the Raptor, it could be worth the attempt, although there is the slight possibility that the market is also going to continue in a tight, tiny little sideways range. All right, enough of that. Crude oil also a little sideways, but perhaps a little bit more bearish as we have a first micro-macro cross lower. When you take a look at your tools like your Hawk or your Falcon or Eagle, it's going to be most obvious here on the Hawk, but we got all these yellow bars. You see they're printing more or less at the same latitude. And that tells me that the market is very, very sideways. Whenever the market is sideways, you got to be thinking trading range. And trading range means there's going to be buying near the bottom end of the range, selling near the top end. That's why the safest course of action, if you believe the market to be in a trading range, is just to let it break out first. Let it break out, retest, and then look for that opportunity to get in. You will get that opportunity. It's extremely rare that the market bolts on you without giving you at least one chance to get back in. We're just kind of waiting now. Everything, of course, in slow motion during the summer months. If you want to stick your toe in the water to see how the market is responding, well, here's a buy signal, just this breakout that we have. Might be better to go in a little bit lighter. Here we have a comparable signal on the Falcon. On the Falcon, it's actually a trend change signal, kind of mid-trend. We get this trend change signal. When the market is doing these types of things, you know, kind of floundering around a little bit, kind of trading in this little bit of a channel type thing, it's a good idea to try to incorporate a second push on the entry. In other words, let the signal engage, let the market retreat from the signal, and then place your order. This allows you to be brought in on some renewed momentum in the marketplace. All right, it prevents you from trying to get in there too early. Now I know you're always thinking, well, what if the market, you know, fills me and takes off without me? Well, it's extremely unlikely that it's going to do that. It's possible. For instance, down here was a quick little trend change signal, and then the market just took off and never gave you a second chance. So it can happen. It is unlikely, however. But here, still, we've got a market that appears to be a little bit sideways, perhaps even a little toppy. So it doesn't hurt to be a little cautious. To my way of thinking, anyway. And there's always going to be another opportunity. And sometimes you're going to be wrong. So remember, never end up risking more than you can afford to lose. That's a key component to successful trading. All right, so let's follow through now here on this Falcon signal. As I mentioned, we had comparable signals here on the Raptor. We had a early signal here on the Eagle. I've mentioned before that the Eagle is one of these tools. I don't mind trying the first signal out of the gate with the Eagle. Because it does tend to be a little bit more reliable. Let's see, the Hawk. We had actually a first micro-macro cross signal here right out of the open, and I think we're at our profit target. Yes, we just hit our profit objective for the Hawk. Come on. Soybeans looking a little stronger here. We've got on our soybean chart, you could look at this a couple of ways, I suppose. You could look at it as maybe a rule of three type trade, or perhaps even just as a trend change. But we have had the market in a little bit of a downward drift. Here's the up move, here's the down move, so this could be the retest of the lows. It looks as though maybe soybeans setting up for a retest of the high, perhaps. Also, very neutral market this morning. Oops, what is going on with my... Shoot, all right. I'm going to have to deal with that later. But there's a possible soybean trade for you, at any rate. And you should consider, you can see I doubled my profit targets for soybeans. You should consider taking perhaps profit a little bit earlier, especially as we get near these highs. So there's a possible trade for you. Tony got the first micro macro cross trade on the hawk, but he said they tagged me at break even. Well, that's break even is not a loss, Tony. It's not quite as nice as a win, but it's not a loss. I still think they're a little top heavy here, folks. I would feel much better about shorting this soft edge sell signal here, because the market is obviously struggling to get higher. You see, every time it pokes through, look at how much wider the bars get. Well, mind you, this is the overnight as well, so volume is going to be a little bit lighter. All right, we've got quite the struggle going on here on these last few bars. So we got serious resistance here around the 48.33 area. If we get a break above there, we're going to see a few of these sellers fold. Come on, giddy up. Don't make me bring that mouse out. You'll be sorry. debating going with a slightly more aggressive stop strategy as the struggle continues. I'm thinking if they fold up here, um, we're going to get a reversal, but let's see if they can't push through. There we go. Come on. Yeah, probably, Keith. Keith says new home sales at the top of the hour. Maybe we'll get a little bit more movement then. Honestly, there's news coming into the marketplace all the time. It really shouldn't be this quiet during the summer, but it is. All right, I'm going to adopt the more aggressive strategy, and we'll see if they can't at least push through to break even here. Come on, get up there. These stinkers. Here's crude oil on the Eagle. You can see what I mean about that sideways range. Like something like that. So if crude oil manages to get outside of this range, what you would be looking for is an opportunity to sell the retest. So the market's going to break out, retest, and then you look for a chance to get short. Break out, retest, look for a chance to get long. So long as it's in this range, though, you're going to see buyers come in at the bottom end of the range. That's what causes this. That's how I know it's going to happen. Or reasonably. There are no absolutes in trading. But as the market breaks the lows here, traders who are bullish on crude oil see this as a bargain. And they say, well, let's buy some more crude oil. It's only $46.60 a barrel. And that causes the market to bounce a little bit. It may actually expand the trading range. You can see the overnight low, or yesterday's low right here. But that's what causes these reactions, right? When the market breaks out, the sellers think it's a better deal to sell at 47.60, 47.70, 47.80, so they sell it back down. Then it's up to the buyers to show that they have control of the trend. If they don't, well, then the market just keeps on going lower. And the reverse is true now. All right, here we got the same struggle. I thought we'd see more follow-through after breaking 48.33. Obviously not. Now we've got the next struggle going on at 48.34. Again, look, almost like a little itty-bitty double top pushing in there. It's almost as though they're getting a little overextended. I'm gonna, if I get a chance here, if the market makes a little bit of a push higher, I will get the trade to break even. Otherwise, I'm thinking this little itty-bitty swing low here around 48.30 is looking a little better to me. Again, it's the lack of momentum. And like Keith says, maybe the new home sales are going to spur the market higher or lower. William, of course I have time for a question. That's what we do here. Never be shy with your questions. It helps pass the time because sometimes there's just not much going on. Type away. Come on. There we go. Come on. Take out 34 and we'll see a little bit of a pop. Bill's asking, I was watching a previous session and you spoke about KC. That's the symbol for coffee. Do you or would you typically change the brick size to 4? Yes, I would. Coffee doesn't trade as much intraday. In fact, let me see if I can load coffee onto my alternate settings and I'll show you what it looks like. Where did I put it? Maybe I took it off my data feed. 1 second here. Oh yes, I think I was just getting a static feed, so I took it off. But that's all right. I'll still be able to show you what it looks like. All right, so at long last, we finally got this trade to a break-even situation. Okay, so here's coffee coming at you. Coffee, a very popular market. Technically, coffee and crude oil are among the 2 most traded commodities, believe it or not. We hear all about crude oil, of course. Coffee, I think, maybe a little bit more popular among European traders. But at any rate, still a very popular market, loads of volume. Let's see what some of these bars are. Oh, well, okay, that's a little light, but yeah. Could just be the season as well. But here's the thing with coffee. Look at that. Look at those moves. Now, this was a very late first micro-macro cross signal, but regardless, had very nice move. Here's a macro pullback signal coupled with a 4-arrow consolidation. Great follow through on that as well. Even your little itty-bitty red bar buy had enough follow through to hit your scalp target. Problem with coffee, because like crude oil, it's going to be a very expensive market to try to trade or to run a reasonable stop on. And I'm not sure why I'm not. Oh yes, of course. Okay. It's just the way the programming is. The numbers are kind of falling in between some of the tick marks. Oh, actually, that's not bad. That's better than I thought it would be. So this is coffee now with the alternate settings. A 4-tick hawk, a 4-tick falcon, and a 6-tick eagle. 446. And you'll want to transfer those settings onto your Raptor. If you're a Raptor trader, you're going to change your brick size to 4 ticks on your Raptor. You're going to change your clouds to 4 and 6. And you're going to change within the Raptor itself the hawk brick size also to 4 ticks. You'll get a smoother looking chart. So here we have the falcon for coffee, and you can see pretty much skewered by the median line this morning and trapped by the primary resistance and the primary support. So very, very sideways looking market, working a possible trend change here now to the upside. And because coffee does tend to range a little bit more, you may consider expanding your profit objective for those days where you get these kinds of moves. So here, this was the hawk signal. The hawk didn't print until up here somewhere, but this is why we have different tools for capturing different market environments. Here we had yesterday a nice trend change signal on the falcon right through the primary resistance, and look at that, it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zones. That's huge. That's a huge move. And the day before, you can see it's trapped again between the median, the primary resistance, and the primary support. So it really seems to be respecting the support and resistance lines that we forecast. We'll take a quick look at coffee here on the eagle. Got a red bar buy down here. Nice move higher, just a basic with trend signal. When you're looking at signals to get in, anytime you get a signal that's making a bull flag type formation, it's okay to try it. These price structures work very well independent of the signals themselves. If you're confused about the signal, you see the red bar buy more often than not is a bull flag. So the market's up, retraces down. Hey, it's a red bar buy. That's what makes this signal so strong. Or of course, the reverse would be true in the downtrending market, where we have a green bar sell, right? Strong move down, and now this is a bear flag type arrangement. Green bar sell. That's what adds the strength to that green bar sell signal, the fact that it's got this bear flag type formation to it. Yeah, Bill says that was a very fast move. It developed over a couple of minutes, and that's part of the problem with coffee as well, is that when it does move, it can move very quickly and not really give you much chance to think. Much like crude oil. Okay, good question here. Bill's asking about on the hawk. So we'll just let this trade simmer, and we'll go here to the hawk. Bill's asking on the hawk, you have the opportunity to change your filter. Many of you may not know this, but you can set a filter for your hawk. So currently it's set at using the chandelier as a filter. That's the conservative mode. If you want it to be more aggressive, you can you can turn that off. And if you want to know what that looks like, it may produce a couple more signals through here. See how we've got a couple extra. That doesn't change the signals that we're looking for, by the way. We're still really just interested in macro pullbacks, first micro-macro crosses, 4-arrow consolidations. You may end up actually getting a few more 4-arrow consolidations just because the pattern is going to develop a little quicker. But that's what that is. It's a filter that's been built in. Where did it go? There it is. It's been a filter that's been built into the hawk to filter out the signals. So what that means, and here I'll show you visually. If you turn your chandelier on, and I think it had a multiple of 3. What was the length? Was the length 0? There we go. So that means that, let's say in non-filter mode, there was a signal that was developing right here. It would not print because it's against the chandelier. Chandelier strategy is, when it's above the market, is bearish. So let's say you had a buy signal print right here. The chandelier filter on your hawk would not print that signal. If you turn that feature off on the hawk, then you would print that signal, assuming there is a signal printing right here. For the most part, I don't think that many signals get filtered. I think most of the hawk filters or the hawk signals are always coinciding with the chandelier itself. And again, we're concentrating on certain market formations, right? We're looking at things like first micro-macro crosses. We're looking at macro pullbacks. We're looking at green bar sells or the failure of a green bar sell. So we're looking for stuff like that. But that's what that is. All right, well, here we are. Trade at break even, just market's been downright painful. I think we're going to see that sell signal come in through the Raptor now, as we've, well, it's not a neat and tidy little retest. I would have taken a short from here. Had the market bounced, come down here, printed a sell signal, I would have shorted from there. I do think we could see prices fall off here a little bit, but not until I get a proper test of the extreme. All right, so we got tagged at our break even there, just so close to our profit target. Was not to be. And now we're going to see the sellers take their turn. Boy, very sideways market across the board here today. Yeah, I agree, Bill. Bill says, I wish coffee was cheaper. It trades very well, especially in the morning, which works best for him. Yeah, I know some of those big, fast-moving markets, they're expensive. The DAX is like that, too. The DAX makes some very good moves, some very fast moves, horribly expensive to trade, however. But really, it's not the market. It's, well, it is the market, it isn't the market. Obviously, the market has to make some sort of move. Our objective, of course, is to try to find two $50 trades in a day. And sometimes you look at a day like today and you wonder, my goodness, can I even get two $50 trades out of here? A lot of sideways overlapping type trading going on. Alright, well, we're still kind of flip-flopping here back and forth. You can see our Geiger counter kind of balanced. The buyers buy, the sellers respond. Buying dries up, selling dries up. They're all pretty evenly matched here at the moment. Beginnings of a macro pullback signal here in the Hawk. Beginnings of a possible late filter entry signal here on the Falcon. Yeah, way to go, Tony. Tony spotted that too. He says, possible late filter entry signal starting to brew up here. So the late filter entry signal is like this guy right here. Filter goes out of sync, must come back into sync. Very important. Trend line, however, never changes color. You want to have both those variables. You want that trend line to go out of sync, come back into sync. And you need that trend line to hold. Muy importante, as they say. Alright, well, here's that macro pullback thing. I'm going to dial down the risk a little bit here. I don't feel like committing too much to this one, so we'll take it just about there, maybe risk it down here. Still can't help but feel that perhaps the market is topping. Of course, it's important not to trade your opinion. Alright, so here's the late filter entry signal now. Filter is back in sync. We're producing warning dots. It should print somewhere near the high. Come on, get up there now. Come on. These highs, my goodness, they're really bogging the market down. Alright, let's see if they can push through. Come on. You can do it. So as the market struggles to get back to this 48.36 area, every time it ticks closer here, we get more sellers trying to get on board. If we break 48.36, pardon me, well then we're going to be trapping a few traders out of their positions. It's probably going to find our profit objective. I'm not liking how the market's taking its time here. I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive with my stop. I have only risk 1% of my capital, so when I roll my stop, it's really only going to be 0.5%. So if the trade doesn't work out, well, it'll be unpleasant, but it won't be expensive. Tony says he's going to take up needlepoint, like Marlene was saying the other day. She does needlepoint when the market's like this. She's got lots done. I could always serenade everybody with my guitar and harmonica. No, you don't want that. Come on, get going. Don't make me pull the magic mouse out. See? Here it is. Don't make me use it. Come on. Somebody get on the other side of 48.36. There's 35 3/4. Oh, 35 half. Now, starting to lose some traction here. Wow, what a lot of work. A lot of struggle without any follow through. Well, looks like here come the sellers. We do have essentially a test of the extreme right here, right? The high being right here. First failure. This is the second failure to recover the trend. A little bit more volume on this bar. I think we're actually going to see the market plod lower here. Let's see if we're going to get a sell signal here on the Raptor. Take advantage of this little itty bitty retest. I get the impression Steve's in this position. He says, market go up, please. Yeah, this is why you don't want to risk more than you can afford. You want to be totally emotionless about the amount you have at risk. So let's see, what do I have in play here? So I got $80 in play. So, that's a dinner out for the wife and I at the pub tonight. So if I lose the $80, well, I guess we're eating at home. You're able to make better decisions when this amount is insignificant. Well, they're never insignificant, but you know what I mean. It's hard to make a good decision when you're anxious about the amount you have in play, because what that does, it's going to make you go to break even sometimes too quickly. It's going to make you roll your stops too quickly, and I do believe I'm going to get stopped out here, don't get me wrong. Sometimes the market just needs a little bit of room to move. So obviously the bottom end of the trading range, around 48.30. In fact, if you wanted, you could probably set your stop at 48.30. Into yellow bars now, but this is a 4-arrow consolidation. 1, 2, 3. We're making the warning dot for signal number 4, turning now into a red bar buy. So the sellers, or pardon me, the buyer's not entirely out of the picture, but I think we're going to get tagged here in a second. Oh, I was going to see about that. Oh, there it is. There's the soft edge sell now on the Raptor. So I'll just throw an order in there. Stop should go above the high. I don't normally do this, by the way. I'm just doing it in the room here so that you can see it. But if I'm currently long a position, I'll not go short until the long position closes out. Why? Well, I've got two opposing positions here. Only one's going to work out. But I wanted to point out the soft edge sell. So there's the high. Here's the quick little retest. And now we're looking for the market to head down, possibly as low as the hard edge, which could see prices trading as low as 48.18 here on the NQ. I do believe that would put us pretty close to this little swing here in the overnight session. But it's important to keep your stops above the high because that, of course, is your uncle point, if you will. That's where you know you're definitely wrong about the trade. So you may as well take the stop out. Yeah, like Bill says, it's like betting red and black on the roulette table. you got your bets covered. You're going to win on one. Unless you hit that 0 or double 0. Well, I suppose technically there is the chance that the pardon me, the hawk is going to rally here enough to hit the profit objective, and then we'll see the market reverse and head lower again. But an extremely tight range today. So here's the high at the opening range. Here's the low of the opening range. You can see that's very, very small. Yesterday was a little bit bigger. Well, not much, I guess, until we finally got a breakout. That loosened things up a little bit. Okay, boys and girls, I'm going to have to close down the room here in a few minutes. As I mentioned the other day, I'm helping a friend down in Victoria, and I need to get a little bit of an early start to get down there. If anybody has any questions, please type away. I will wait and answer your questions for you. Otherwise, if there's no questions, we're going to close up the room here in a few minutes. Quick reminder, tomorrow, Wednesday, is we're meeting at the open house venue, the alternate venue. Um, what is that Bill is asking? Are you asking about the alternate venue? That's the free trading room. Every Wednesday we open it up to the public, our trading room, so that non-DTS owners can see what we're doing. And if any of you don't have that address, you can email Adam at indicatorwarehouse.com or simply go to Indicator Warehouse. I'll show you where you can find it. And so you go here to Indicator Warehouse, click on Free Trade Room, and submit your email info right here. And then you'll get the notification for the Wednesday room. And hopefully Wednesday will be a little bit more active. Actually, usually it does tend to be a little bit more active. Middle of the week, traders finally realizing they got to get something done. Oh yes, I will, Bill. I will. Bill saying, if helping your friend requires your physical labor, wear your brace. Do friends ever call for anything else? It's like the comedian Red Green used to say, if the women don't find you handsome, they better find you handy. Well, there you go. That pretty much sums up my my dating career. All right, you guys, we'll touch base with you tomorrow, and hopefully, let's see, if you're hanging with the market today, it just looks like another sideways trading day. I think we're going to see little bounces off of the lows. We're going to see a little selling off of the highs. It looks like right now we may be able to get a little bit of a run up here, maybe get this trade to a break-even type situation. And again, don't want to be too quick on your stops here with the Raptor, because it may fail at the highs again and try to head lower. So you may actually be able to work both these trades into a profitable type trade. Oh, yes, that's right. Bill says the other reason friends call you is for money. Yeah, forgot about that one. Family. All right, you guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.